right? So I don't sit down here and claim that, yes, we're a necessary part of the ecosystem, but we're not important. We really aren't. Because I don't think we're important unless we fundamentally define what that business problem should look like. And my belief is that we've attached ourselves with so much self-importance, right? Now we talk to all the analysts. By the way, any analysts here, like from Gartner or? No, okay, good. I can make fun of them too. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They absolutely have no clue what they're talking about.
Maybe it doesn't work the other way too. Just because you're important doesn't mean you're necessary.
It works that way too. I agree with it. So what's happened is that when people talk about, hey, here's the problem, they immediately go to a specific set of tool sets and things like that have fundamentally, you say, wait a minute, we're talking about something else, and suddenly we're way down here talking about specific things or specific tool sets. And I don't think we've had a real dialogue about how to go create a lively, thriving market, right, where companies that really want to solve some hard problems around auditing, which is, I think, the world's oldest profession. I think it's existed even before the first profession that we all know. Why? I believe that truly. But my point is that we think that we're important in this world, but I think the ability to define what our worth is, right, isn't very well defined. And the reason why I brought up Gartner is that they have all these hype circles, right? So I actually have one guy who's working for me now who's doing nothing but taking a look at all the analyst reports for the last 10 years, because they have these probability ranks and things like that, and actually grade them to see how far it's come true. And you know what the ratio is? No. They've been right 0.0006 times in the last 20 years. And they projected that like, for example, mobile devices, right, will take 6 years to reach maturity. 6 years. In India, for example, 15 million new subscriber phones are sold every month. Let me repeat that. 15 million new telephone mobile subscribers every month. All the old technology. So how do you provision for 15 million new subscribers? I mean, it is just, it's fascinating, right? To figure out, you can't even cut fiber that fast. So the growth of technology is so exponential that people say, you know what, they don't understand that the market demands, right? Of course, you don't have landlines there in companies like India, for example, but there are people today, okay, I don't know how you're going to audit this, but people get paid today in India, right? Especially if you're doing menial work using the phone. So if I want someone to come clean my garage, I SMS a particular individual, okay? They agree on a rate on the mobile device, and the transaction is conducted between the two mobiles. Okay, the other person almost always has never passed 4th grade. There are about 130 million illiterate people in India. But they're transacting. How are you going to audit that? So already micropayments, right? So we talked a lot about technology. So you got to fundamentally rethink, right? How are you going to audit micropayments? So you got 1 billion applications that are downloaded. You think Apple is not going to have revenue recognition problems? Right? It's not because they don't know what they're doing. It's just the complexity of the problems and the way the problems are going to hit them. It's going to hit them out of the blue where you have no idea, right, as to how to solve a particular problem. This is another graph and chart by Forrester, which is another report. They've got all these boxes. They didn't use my favorite color. That's what I'm really upset about this chart. They should have used my favorite color. They don't have it. Graphs, charts, all this kind of stuff, right? This is actually an interesting way to look at how the whole ecosystem was forming. But fundamentally, none of this actually addresses the issue of how am I going to evaluate my risks and where the risks are actually going to come from. And it's really, really hard to do that because fundamentally the businesses are changing so fast. By the time you finish putting bubbles and colors around the chart, it's already over. It's a meaningless set of framework. So our quick point of view, and again, you may not agree with this, but the GRC, as they call it, it's really a concept, right? There's no distinct solutions for it. We can talk about it. You can say CCM powers it. I honestly don't know what it is, right? So my friend Louise, she said, she's from SAP, she said, what are you going to talk about? She said, I honestly don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about. Because my point of view, right, is that every time you figure what a governance framework should look like, it gets redefined. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that innovation needs to happen to a point where organizations need to transform themselves in defining the business problem and challenge the entire industry, right? Which is what Apple did, for example. They challenged the entire industry for you to rethink, right, what a mobile platform should look like. Right? And we haven't done that, I think, in majority of the industries, and especially in the IT world, right? All right, this is my another motivational poster here for you. So my purpose today was this, okay? My entire purpose, okay, that I want to embody is I want to be a collection of spectacular mistakes. Yes, I think this is my last slide. Almost. real quick. Okay, where do I see the vision? Amy talked about XBRL, right? So we're actually doing this for one of our customers today. When you look at a typical income statement, okay, you see that little risk status there that I think someone else showed. Our view is that the reporting, the financial reporting, right, combined with what's going on with XBRL, combined with things that was happening in XML, could potentially lead to a standardization where you could actually compare risk structures between companies based on how the internal control framework is implemented inside of these companies. So you're not just comparing stock prices, you're actually comparing the internal control framework implementations between two companies to understand what the risk profiles are and what risks they're actually taking in the marketplace. So you can say, hey, is that a good risk? Maybe it is. I mean, you can buy the stock. You can say, you know what? They're not risk tolerant, right? So the view that I'm taking right now is that it's not that you need risk management. What you need is risk tolerance, because you're going to have risk in your business. The question is, right, can someone like Apple take on the risk of loading billion applications at 99 cents a pop, take the risk, and be tolerant of that risk for having a revenue recognition problem because the transactions happening today on mobile devices that they don't know about, which ultimately affects the revenue. So can they be risk tolerant, right? So what is the risk tolerance profile? So Dr. Miklos, I'd love to see some research that says, how does companies get to have a risk tolerant profile, right? So that's my one insight, if that means anything to you at all. So our belief is that you should be able to drill down directly from an income statement, right? And again, by the way, I'm using Excel here, very, very powerful technology. That shows you that there were 14 unusual manual journal entries, right? And you click on it, and it shows you all the entries directly into SAP, right, as to what actually happened, so that it directly goes to the business process owners that actually have triggered these transactions directly and seamlessly going back and forth, okay, as one of my visions. So it's not that, it may not be CA or CCM, but I don't know what it is. We'll probably have, I hope to see all of you guys in the 29th Rutgers conference. I'm really looking forward to it. But I truly believe that there's this notion that, we should be able to have any company report financial results any day, any place, any time. Right? But no one's actually asked for it. Right? No one asked for a microwave either. Right? No one asked for it. I don't know.